Hello beautiful people, I'm Raish Phoenix, and in today's video I will be showing you guys how I installed this wig. Here is the wig we're going to be installing. So this is from Outre, the Color Bomb Premium Synthetic Lace Front Wig. I have this in the style Kimani, and I got the color Ivory Blonde. I did get this wig from the website wigtypes.com. Well, here she is. So the inside of the wig cap, this is what it looks like. So you get two combs in the front, and there is a part, I'm not exactly sure how deep that part is, but there is a part, and you also get a comb in the back. So this is just what the wig looks like from the interior. And here's the lace. This is how the lace came, so you can see how it looks against my complexion. And we are going to fix that. I'm going to actually be grabbing my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Dark Deep. So this is just my all over face powder that I use for foundation. I don't have any type of wig tint or anything, so I'm just working with what I got. So what I did was I just brushed it from the inside on the lace. And I'm just making sure that I'm covering the lace completely, mostly focusing on the part that's closest to where the hairline starts on the wig, because that's really where I want to fix it. And this is what it looks like against my complexion. Now, when I was looking at it, I realized that some of the powder did kind of like seep through and go into the actual hair strands. So I'm just kind of like scratching at the edges of the hair just so I can get that excess powder out, but it wasn't anything like too crazy. This is a wig cap that I use. I got it from like a cosplay wig a while ago. It works for me, so that's just what I go for. And honestly, when I put on these wigs, it is for a couple hours, so I'm not doing the wig cap like melting down a wig cap and then all that. Girl, I'm not doing all that. Anyway, so with the wig cap that I do use, I'm just making sure that the edge of it, the band on the end, is completely flat. I like to put it over where my edges are, and just making sure that it's grabbing that hair, and then from the back I pull it back because I don't want the edge to be exactly where the lace is going to be, because it's just going to create an awkward hump and you're going to see that band. So I like to pull it back a little bit further from my natural hairline and just make sure that it's pulling back my edges. Now I'm just putting on the wig, making sure that I have an idea of where I want it to lay, so I'm just being super careful with making sure that like I'm not adjusting the wig cap underneath, and I'm just pulling that wig forward and making sure that I know exactly where I want, like how forward I want it to be on my forehead. With my rat tail comb, I'm just making sure that all those little small strands are out of the way, because when it comes to putting the hair down, like gluing down the lace, not the hair, when it comes to gluing down the lace, I just want to make sure it's not in the way. I decided to go in with my scissors and just cut little snips, if you will, into the lace, just to make sure it would be a lot easier with putting it down, because with it just flat against the head like that, it would be way too difficult to actually get each part laid. So I decided to cut it, and now I can maneuver it a little bit better on my forehead to make sure that I can make that process easier for myself. Just tying my hair back so it won't be in the way as I am laying down the lace, and I am also going to take a little clip and clip back that bayang out of the way. I'm using my Got To Be Glued Blasting Freeze Spray now. So what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that I'm lifting up that first part of the lace. I use my tissue, or use a tissue, to get the excess off. I'm just making sure that that area has enough product on it. Like I want a decent amount of product so when I do go in with my blow dryer, it's there and keeping it in place. And what I like is that you don't have to really worry about it sticking until you actually like allow it to like cool, or for the product to dry. That's the word. For the product to dry, so you still have time to maneuver it and just make sure that there's enough product there. And I'm just going in with that rat tail comb again and just combing the strands of hair out of the way, and I'm using my blow dryer on cool to set it into place. After I put down that part, or laid down that lace in that section, I realized that it would be a lot easier to work with the sides if I cut those into smaller pieces. So I'm just going back in with the freeze spray. I'm putting on like a thin layer, I guess. Like, it's not super a lot, but at least making sure that the entire area where I'm putting down the lace is covered. And then I'm just going to dab away at any of the excess product, make sure that I pull the lace forward because I still want to keep it where I want it to be placed on my forehead. And then from there, I might go back in with my comb, just comb out the strands of hair that are in the way, get those out of the way before I go in with my blow dryer and have it on cool as I allow it to dry. I did the rest of the lace off camera, and this is what it's looking like with all the lace glued down. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start cutting away at the lace. But here's the thing, I kept as much footage as I can of myself doing this because I could only show you guys the first like middle section that I was doing because girl, I wear glasses and I was using my phone as a mirror. This was the one thing I was just like, girl, don't mess this up. So I had to get really close to a mirror and do this because if I didn't do that, I know I would have messed it up. So I showed you guys as much as I could, like left as much footage as I could. But what I do is I just cut as close as possible to the hairline of the wig. And I make sure that I make like little snips, and you can see how I'm kind of twisting and turning the scissors. I want to make sure that it's kind of like a, how to describe it, kind of like a quote unquote natural hairline. Like I don't want it to be a perfectly super round line. So you can see how once I'm done cutting the lace, how there's like the edges of it isn't a perfectly straight line. I want to deviate from doing that because I want to make sure that the hairline is more natural and not just like a super round shape on my head. After I cut off the lace, I realized that the sides needed to be glued down again, so I just went in with my freeze spray again, and I'm making sure that I glue down that area. Now to fix the rest of the edge of the lace, I'm going in with the, like using just the end of my rat tail comb. So I find it a lot easier to do it with a metal end as opposed to a plastic end rat tail comb, because I noticed that when I was using a plastic one in the past, the product would build up, whereas with the metal one, I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't, like the free spray doesn't stick as much, so it's a lot easier to kind of melt down that lace using a metal, like a thinner metal tip rat tail comb as opposed to the plastic one. So I just make sure that I put enough product on the edge of the lace so you can see the difference between that section I just put down versus the rest of the hairline of the wig. So it's just one of those things where it's like you just gotta make sure that you saturate the edge of the lace enough so that the product can really melt it into the skin and it's not that like kind of like leaving that cast at the end, and it has more of a melted into the skin type of look. Now, I've seen other people use a band or a like an elastic band, but I don't have that. I didn't have that at that point, so I just used my thickest hell bandana. I rolled it up flat and I tied it on to my lace to kind of just allow it to sit there on the forehead. I let it sit there for 10 minutes and then I took it off, and I had to make sure that everything was dry at the end. I'm just over here checking. I'm like, is she laid or not? Like, I had to get in there, really look in the mirror like, is it working or not? At this point, I am grabbing my sideburns, so I wanted to make sure that it covered up my natural hair on the sides closest towards my ears. Here I am just like taking out the hair and figuring out how much of the hair I want to pull from the sides. And I'm gonna be using my freeze spray. Girl, it was cold. I was like, Lord have mercy, I wasn't ready for that. So here I am using the freeze spray, and I am going to be using this to hold down the sideburns. So I'm just gonna lay down the sideburns first to get an idea of like how much of it I want on the sides, and then after that I'll go in and cut where I need it to be cut. I try to do like a little cute cut moment for the sideburn on this side, so I twisted the end of the hair and I cut away at it, and I was just like, oh, like it'll be all nice and sparse, and girl, I was like, ooh, that was a blunt as hell cut. So I went back in and I just cut away more at the sides. I realized later that I didn't need to pull that much hair, but either way, it still worked. I just cut away like into little sections of that area of the sideburns that I pulled. And this was a tool that I ended up using, like the face, I forgot what it's called, but pretty much that face razor that people use for brows and stuff. I used that to kind of carve away more at the sideburn. But here I am just showing you guys like the length of the hair. I love the fullness of it. Like this wig, like I like that it's also a side part. Like it's just a really beautiful wig. I love this color, and here she is. Like this is the full moment of her, and I'm just showing you guys what the wig looks like against my complexion. It did help to also apply some of my foundation on the edge of the lace, because that really helped with just making sure that the lace blended in more with my complexion. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Also, you can put concealer into the part. I didn't do that because I was too lazy, but yeah, there it is. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Bless up, and until next time, sending out much peace, love, and enlightenment. Bye, guys.